Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mukhtar Ahmed with the Virtual University course of Leadership and Team Management. We have completed our 10 lectures, and during those 10 lectures, I tried to explain to you what is the organization and how this leadership process is taking place. What are the essential or basic ingredient or element of leadership process? And we try to understand this leader, followers, and situation, complete triangle process, where all those three components, they're playing very important role. Then we decided to understand first the leader part, and then we'll talk about the team, because the title of the course is Leadership and Team Management. We have started understanding the leadership part, and then after a few lectures, we'll start the team management process, a team management concept, and later on, during the last part of the course, we'll try to understand the application of this importance of leadership and team management, and how these both things are overlapping and affecting each other. During last two lectures, ladies and gentlemen, I started explaining the theoretical aspect of the leadership. The theories, the approaches of leadership. How this concept is being modified and changed. If you recall, we discussed that there are four types of leadership theories or approaches based on which we can discuss these changes in the approaches of leadership. And they were, number one, trait theory, number two, behavioral theory, number three, contingency theory, and then there were latest few versions, they call it new theories. And we also tried to understand those overlapping processes, approaches, to understand this process of leadership in a better way. Why are we interested to understand leadership better? Why are we spending that much time to understand the leader better? The reason is that based on this behavioral approach, or this approach that shifted from the mechanical to the more toward behavior approach of the organization, performance or behavior, the more it was felt that we need to understand this human resource better. And then while understanding the human resources, the human part of the resources of any organization can have, they felt that there are certain special type of people working in an organization, and these special people, they call them the leaders. And if we can understand leader better, or if we can understand those traits, those behavior part better, and that is giving us a strength or giving us more power to pick right type of people for those positions. So that at the end of the day, those organizations should be successful. They should be profit-bearing or profit-earning organization. Those groups should be goal-achieving groups, and those teams should be winning teams. So that was the focus, that is the focus, that why organizations are spending more and more time to understand this important source any organization can have, and that is the human source. Ladies and gentlemen, about the theories, approaches, we already covered the three theories, three approaches. the trait theory, the behavioral theory, and the contingency theories. And in the trait theory, we try to discuss the belief that people used to believe that leaders are born, and they born with some certain specific traits. And based on those traits, you can identify a good leader. Of course, which was later on proven not correct. Yes, there are few traits which can give you a probability options that yes, this person can perform better than other people. But necessarily that is not an essential part. That of course, people having these type of traits, they are going to be a good leader. And remember, we discussed that leaders can be good leaders, or effective leaders, or they can be bad leaders, or ineffective leaders. Similarly, the second theory we discussed was the behavior approach or behavior theory. That focused that people with certain behaviors can give them the opportunity that they can be a good leader. And of course, they are learned behavior. People can be trained and they can learn those behavior parts and they can become the good leaders. And then there were contingency theories. So ladies and gentlemen, we are still in this third lecture, especially the lecture number 11, we are starting today. I'll still talking or discussing with you the remaining few approaches or theories of leadership, but quickly reviewing the previous few theories so that we should be together in the same mindset. So as I said, we started with the trait theory, where the belief was that leaders are born with certain traits. And then we shifted to behavior theory, where we also tried to understand the two studies conducted by Ohio State, number one, and the Michigan University studies, based on which this behavior theory was evolved. And then they decided to develop a managerial grid, where they plotted two variables. Number one was the concern of the people, and number two, one concern of the production of organization by the leaders. And based on, they kind of describe 5 different types of leadership style, and that was also discussed. In the contingency approach, again there were contingency theories. We also discussed 3 different approaches, or 3 different theories I can say. One was path goal model approach or path goal theory. Another was situational leadership theory. The third one was the Fiedler LPC model approach or theory. And then we tried to understand this contingency approach. So how these 3 different theories or 3 different approaches vary from each other? Or what was the difference there? In the trait theory, they look for the major characteristics common to all effective leaders. Of course, as I said earlier, later on it was proved that it is not correct. In behavior theories, they examine the actual behavior of effective leaders to determine what kind of behaviors lead to success. What kind of behavior a leader can have which can make sure that that leader is going to success. Still, there were certain problems. Later on in the contingency theory, they determine that the effectiveness depends on the contingent of what? The interaction between leaders, followers in a certain situation. And that was the third approach, the third theory we discussed in the leadership theory part, or leadership approach. And in the contingency approach or theories, they kind of determine that effective leaders don't use a single trait. Number one was that it is the contingent part of what? Leaders, followers, and situation. And second thing was that a leader might not be using a single style. They use many different styles and make adjustment based on the situation. But another important variables sometime we just overlooked is the cultural part or the cultural role of culture. So ladies and gentlemen, under this contingency theory, we often overlook or forget about one important variable, which is the cultural, national culture. And of course it has to do with the situation too. Because that is also playing a very, very important role. You might be familiar with the Japanese style of management or American style of management. If you have studied the basic management courses, they used to teach those different management styles there based on their cultural value system. So all these approaches are giving us more knowledge base to understand this process of leadership. Let's discuss few more approaches or theories. And some people put them under a separate head, they call it new approaches or new theories. These new theories, basically they are talking about three types of leaderships. They call it transactional, charismatic, and transformational. I'll try to explain to you all these three different types, style, approaches, or whatever you give it them, the name of leadership. And out of these three, two are very famous. Of course, all three are known. But the important which people are focusing, or you can find the reference of these approaches more, are the transformational and the charismatic leaderships. What is the difference between transactional and transformational leadership style? We need to understand that. And then what is the charismatic, or charisma? This is also a buzzword. You might have heard so many times that guy has a charisma. What a charismatic personality he or she has. Especially when we are talking the leaders or leadership. So in today's lecture, which is lecture number 11, I'll try to explain to you all these three types of leadership. They are, number one, transactional, number two, charismatic, and number three, transformational. But in beginning, I'll try to explain to you the basic difference between transactional and transformational leaderships. What is the difference between transformational and transactional leadership? The basic difference is the transactional leader, they basically believe on the old perception, the old concept of carrot and stick rule. वो जज़ा और सज़ा का जिसे अमल कहते हैं. While the transformational leadership is more about visionary things, is more about transforming followers into a winning team. So basically, the transformational leadership focus on influencing the attitude, the behavior of the followers, and assumption of staff that building commitment to the mission and objective of the organizations. So basically what is happening here in the transformational approach or the transformational style, that the leaders, they focus on the attitude and behaviors of the followers or staff members or team member of the organization, so that they should build commitment in them for the achievement of goals. While the transactional leadership style, our approach is basically focusing on rewards and punishment in response to whatever they are doing or whatever they are producing. So basically, it focuses on rewards in exchange for motivation, productivity, and effective task accomplishment. In the transformational leadership style, the leaders, they play the leading role. They develop their followers. They communicate with them. They excite them. They create or they transform their vision into their followers. But in the transactional leadership style, or the transactional leaders, they are managing. Basically, it is more toward a manager, basically. They are more toward managing things. They are making sure that employees has necessary resources to perform their duties. And they apply contingency leadership theories while they are dealing with their followers. So what is happening here now? The basic difference, as I explained to you, the transactional leaders are more like managers. They are short-sighting, doing the short-sighting. They just make sure that they need to get things done from them, and then they link it with the reward and punishment. While transformational leaders, they inspire them. They create vision in them. They develop their followers. And they want to take along with them all those followers for the achievement of goals. Clear? Let's quickly discuss them one by one, starting with the transformational leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, the transformational leaders, they have the higher satisfaction from their employees for their performance, and they would like to see the organization citizenship in their organization. They believe in the creativity. They are acting as a change agent. And by the way, what is this organization citizenship concept? The organization citizenship concept is that people, the team member, the staff member, the followers, they starting behaving, believing, and acting like the owners of the organization. And when they are feeling ownership, then they always try to perform extra. Whatever has been expected from them, they always try to deliver more than that, because they feel honored, they feel committed, they take it as a pride when they are achieving something. So that is the transformational leadership. And they are the transformational leader rather, which can create this concept, a concern, or beliefs in their employees, in their followers, in their staff members, in their team members, that you are the owner of the organization. We need to have the creativity. They empower them rather than control them. So that is the transformational leader. Okay? By the way, whenever we talk about the charismatic leader, transformational leader, we always have the image of Qaid-e-Azam in our mind. What traits we can see in those transformational leaders like Qaid-e-Azam, Muhammad Ali Jinnah? That they have the high self-confidence. They articulate a vision. And that was the vision of creating an independent country, Pakistan. That was never believed by other people. That was a vision which our leader, Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, had. They assumed personal risk for the pursuit of their vision. And see, Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah took so many times the stand, which was putting his life in danger, putting his personal interest in danger, and ultimately his health was in danger. But still, that was the commitment, that was the confidence, that was the vision, that was the belief which took him, along with his followers, to create a beautiful country of ours, Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, and these leaders which are transformational, they always use unconventional strategies. They do things in a different way. They make example for other peoples. They are not the routine people. Because that is why they are transformational, because they need to transform. They perceive self as a change agent. So these are the few traits which are making them the transformational leaders. So ladies and gentlemen, transformation leadership is that inspire people, while transactional leaders is the old basically approach of reward and punishment. I used one term, the carrot and stick rule, during my today's lecture. That is a reward and punishment. The famous concept of carrot and stick is that sometime to get your job done, you might need to use carrot. Carrot means incentive or rewards. But sometime under certain situation, that incentive might not be working. So you might need to have a stick, which is basically reflecting the punishment part, right? And those both carrot and stick rule was an old theory or concept of management. Nowadays, this carrot and stick rule is changing its face. People are more thinking now towards creating a system. Now the management theory says, or management people, a guru says, all those gurus, they are shifting now from carrot and stick rule. It is not working anymore. Of course, under circumstances, certain situations, in different cultures, this is still the rule of the day. But in new era of today's, the dynamics of the today's organization are giving us different options, that why don't we develop a system? And then we don't need this carrot and stick rule. Because if you will be giving more incentive, then there is no end basically. Because another company, another organization might give better incentives. So what will happen? And then about the stick. I sometime in one of my course, I showed a slide which says, management is like holding a dove in your hands. If you squeeze it, you will kill it. और अगर उसको ढीला छोड़ दिया तो उड़ जाएगी. तो कहने का मकसद यह है कि एक सिस्टम अप्रोच, एक म्याना रवि is the better option for proper management. This was just, by the way, the thought. Coming back to our subject of today, transactional and transformational leadership. I explained to you that transactional leadership is basically the old approach of reward and punishment, while transformational leadership is that leadership inspires their followers. They develop them. They motivate them. If you are a transactional leader, you will use what? Formal, reward or punishment strategy. But if you are a transformational leader, what you will do? You will inspire, you will excite, you will motivate your followers that they will go and they will exhibit the higher level of performance. So which one of you would like to be? A transactional leader or transformational leader? Of course, everybody will like to be a transformational leader, because that is the long-lasting thing. This will give you more than you can achieve in a normal way. These transformational leaders, they help to bring about major and positive changes in the organization, in the teamwork, in the team processes. because they're also acting as change agent. They believe in the creativity. The transformational leaders move group members beyond their self-interest for the good of the group, organization, a team, or of course as a whole, as a society. How this transformational will take place? Who is going to do it? Of course the leader. That is why we call them the transformational leader. What basically leaders do? They raise the people awareness. They try to teach them, because the development part of the transformation leadership is the creating the awareness, teaching them, helping people look beyond their self-interest. It is not always looking toward yourself. It is better to look toward the bigger picture, the bigger interest. Of course, ultimately, if the team is winning, if organization is winning or is successful, and you are bringing more and more opportunities, yes, the society is getting benefit, your organization is getting benefit, your team is getting benefit, and yes, of course, you are also getting benefit. So it is looking the big picture first, rather than focusing on your own personal interest. So who is creating this thing? Who is creating this awareness? Who is bringing you as follower out of those things? That is the job of the transformational leader. Help people to search for the self-fulfillment. Helps people to understand need for the change. Things are changing. Environment is changing. If you really want to be successful, or you want your team to be winning team, if you want your organization to be a leading organization, yes, you need to keep your eyes and ear open and see what things are changing, what new technology is coming, what new processes are taking place. So you also need to adjust. Not only that you should be a follower, you may be trendsetter. Yes, that is putting extra burden on you, but that is the winning team. They invest on managers with sense of urgencies. They create commitment in their followers. They adopt a long and broad perspective of the organization, of their goals or their achievements, and they build trust. And similarly, the other such type of things is the responsibility of leader. They try to do these type of things with their team members, with their followers, and making them successful, motivated, committed, ready to change, trustworthy team, group, followers, or organization. Let us discuss a little bit of the theoretical aspect of this transformational leadership style or transactional leadership style. James Byrne's theory of transformational and transactional leadership focuses on the difference between power versus leadership and charismatic versus non-charismatic leadership. They believe that leadership could take one of the two forms, either transactional leadership or transformational leadership. And if it is transactional leadership, those leaders are going to depend more on punishment and reward. While transformational leadership will depend more on the development, the commitment, the excitement, these types of things, so that their followers should move ahead and take this organization citizenship role and try to deliver more than they are expected. And they also, this theoretical background also maintain that the power and leadership were two distinct entities. It is not always the stick and carrot rule which is giving you result. The leadership and this power game is two different things. And that was the theoretical aspect of that theory. Boss's theory of transformation and transaction leadership, basically, they perceive that transformational leaders possesses charismatic leader characteristics, which is the vision, the special skills, enthusiasm, and such type of things. While transactional leaders, they believe under their studies or their beliefs The transaction leaders do not possess these leadership qualities, characteristics, nor they are able to develop strong emotional bonds with their followers, with their team members. And instead of transaction leaders motivate followers by setting goals, they link it with their reward and of course punishment, and that reward and punishment will force their followers to go for the performance. Let me discuss with you and compare these both transactional and transformational leadership based on certain characteristics, certain categories of a leadership process. Let's see from where leaders get power. What are the source of power for the leaders? Case if they are transactional leader or transformational leader. If a leader is a transactional leader, they always get power from their position, from their status in the organization, from their rank. And that is the power through which they get things done from other people. But in case of transformational leaders, they get power from their competence, from their character, the kind of trust they have developed within the followers. So see the source of power. In case a transaction leadership process is taking place, is always from the rank or the position or the status of that leader within the organization. But in case of transformational, the source of power is the expertise, the competence, the character of that person, or that leader who is a transformational leader. Similarly, the follower's reaction. In case of transactional leadership process, they always compliance with the orders. But in transformational leadership style, it is the commitment of the followers through which they perform their duties or fulfill their responsibilities. The time frame in case of transactional leader is the short term, while in case of transformational it is always the long term. Similarly, the reward. In case of transactional leadership process, that is always pay, promotion or some other benefits. But for the followers under the transformational process, it is the pride, it is the self-esteem which is more important. The satisfaction which they achieve or they gain after the accomplishment of their task. Similarly, the kind of supervision. Is the supervision important? Yes. In case of transactional, it is very important. But in transformational, it is the least important. Counseling focus, it is always the evaluation in case of transactional, while in transformational, it is the development. So ladies and gentlemen, I tried to compare these both leadership style or approaches, transactional versus transformational. In case of transactional, the leader, they gain power from their position and rank. The followers, they compliance. It is always short term as far as the time frame is concerned, and employees or people, even the leader, they are more concerned about their pay, benefits, rewards, promotion, and these type of things. And the supervision is very important. While in case of transformational, it is the characteristic, the competence, the expertise, the skills of the leaders or the followers which make them important. And they always go with the commitment. It is not the compliances, it is the commitment which matter for them. In the same way, time, of course, salary is coming along with their, whatever they are doing, they are getting the pay, salary. But the most important for them is the satisfaction, the pride, the self-esteem. They feel honored, they feel pride if they've achieved something. Similarly, the supervision is the least important part for them. Transformational leaders are important, and they raise aspiration and transform their individuals, of their organization, of their group, of their team through optimism, through charm, through intelligence, and similar personal characteristics or qualities which leaders exhibit. Based on them, they transform their followers from a non-productive to productive component, from a non-delivering to a delivering partner, from a not winning team to a winning team, with commitment, with ownership, with excitement. While transactional leadership, they focus on followers' self-interest, then they try to match it, provide short-term results. Leaders provide heavily supervision, they promote a compliance environment, and they influence the subordinates. Leadership, we have discussed now, the type of approaches, transactional and transformational. Ladies and gentlemen, let me shift you toward another type, another important type of the leadership, that is the charismatic leader, charisma. What is charisma, by the way? How can we define charisma? And what is charismatic leadership? People have defined this charisma in a different way. So many different definitions as far as the charismatic leadership is concerned. But let's first understand what is this word charisma. This is a Greek word meaning inspired, divinely gift. It is something special which a person have, the charisma, a Greek word, right? In leadership, charisma is a special quality. Leaders who possesses them, this is extraordinary determination in them, and which can make them different from others. That is the charisma, basically. Those special characteristics, those special features which a person can have, these are the personal traits, the personality trait, I should say, which are God gifted. Yes. And those God gifted things, of course we can later on discuss, there are few characteristics of charismatic leadership which can be learned, which can be developed. But these are the gifts which a person can have if he or she is able to develop them. And the important thing is, this charisma has a relationship concept, relationship of a leader with the followers. This is a key to charismatic leadership, that there is an interaction between leader and the people, leaders and the team member, leader and the followers, leaders are the group members, are the staff member of the organization, right? And the charismatic qualities must be attributed to the leader by group members. The members should be taking as the charismatic attributes. Then you can have the charismatic leadership. And basically, those charismatic leaders, they use impression management techniques. And I hope you are familiar with this term, impression management. This is the process where people try to manage their behavior, their attributes, their action, keeping in view that how other people are going to perceive it. And if you have taken organization behavior course, you should be familiar with this concept, impression management. If people will do something wrong, they will try to manage it in a different way. If they have done something good thing, they will try to manage it in a different way. And how they are managing it, so that they want their perception of other people about them in a positive way. That is a impression management. Those charismatic leaders, They do the impression management. Yes. They articulate ideological goals. They need high power, energy level, and high level of self-confidence. They set examples by modeling the behavior. They have high expectations as far as the follower performance is concerned. They behave in a way that can encourage, that can arouse these motivations relevant to group mission or group goals. They create an environment in the team or in the group, in the organization, which can motivate all of them. And there are basically two types of charismatic leaders. Number one, visionary charismatic leaders, and second, crisis-based charismatic leaders. Number one, visionary charismatic leaders, through communication ability, through the visionary these ideas or their beliefs or their visions, those visionary charismatic leaders links followers, needs and goals to the organization goals. While the crisis-based charismatic leaders, the crisis-produced charismatic leader communicates clearly what actions need to be taken and what their consequences will be. So under crisis condition, they will come up as a charismatic leader. Charismatic leader emphasize on symbolic leadership behavior. They have visionary and inspirational messages. They also do a lot of non-verbal communication. Their body language, their other way of expressing themselves, impressing themselves. Remember this impression management thing? They have the value system. They believe on those things. Intellectual stimulations and confidence are the few traits or things where those leaders, they give more emphasis basically. You can ask me the question, then what is the difference between transformation and charismatic leaders? You're right. And that is why few people or most of the people believe they're the same. But yet there is difference. The charismatic leader is different from transformational leader because this charisma is a personal trait. And that might help transform or might just help the leader. If a person has the charismatic personality, of course it is helping him to be a leader, not be helping the followers to transform into charismatic followers. It might be, it might not be. And similarly, charismatic leadership might have the opposite effect. They create dependence, not the empowerment. Ladies and gentlemen, in the transformational leaderships, or transformation leaders, they try to create empowerment. But in case of charismatic leadership, of course the outcome is mostly the similar type things, but approaches might be different. In the charismatic leadership, it is more dependence. The people or the follower depend more on the leader. While the transformation leader, they try to create the empowerment. They try to give more power to followers that they should act. They should own it and they should move. So, of course, one can say this charismatic and transformation leader are the similar type or same type, but still they are different too. I hope you understand that. Let's see what is next. Let me share with you a few feelings of the followers about their charismatic leader. They have high trust level. They believe blind faith on their leaders. Obedience, emotional involvement, satisfaction, self-esteem, motivation, believingness of their success. Remember, if you are impressed from a leader, let's talk about any game, any team playing. You always believe this person is going to make the difference. Okay, this particular bowler, if he's now going to bowl or going to take the charge, so your belief will be as the follower of a charismatic leader, other team members who are playing with him, that yes, now we are going to win because such and such person is with us. So how can we define a charismatic leader? Charismatic leaders have a combination of charm. As I said earlier, there are so many different definitions. But one definition I like, so I should share with you, that charismatic leaders have a combination of charm and personal magnetism that contribute to a remarkable ability to get other people to endorse to their vision and promote it passionately. It is the belief which arise in the mind of the followers based on those charisma thing, the personality traits of a leader, that followers basically endorse whatever he or she is saying. And not only endorse, but take full strength to be part of that accomplishment. And what are the traits of those charismatic leaders? Of course, they have self-confidence, they have a vision, they also have strong conviction about that vision, and they have extraordinary behavior. They exhibit extraordinary behavior. And that is, they also have an image of change agent. And these are the similar type of characteristics which we can see in the transformation leaders. But same time, as I said, the transformation leaders give more empowerment to the followers. But in case of charismatic leadership, it is a dependency which can be more obvious. I think I have to stop it here because time is not permitting me to go ahead, though I have a couple of more slides to share with you. But let me stop, ladies and gentlemen, here. I believe we have already completed our theoretical part. The theories are approaches of leadership. And we started with initially 4 types of leadership. The trait theory, the behavior theory, the contingency theory, and new theories or new approaches. And then try to explain to you the theoretical background, the specific reason that they are different than others, and similarly, and how people or the followers interact with them, what are their expectations. So one can ask a question, which one is the better theory? Which one is the better approach? And there is no hard and fast rule. It depends on the situation. It depends on the followers. It depends on the type of task, activities, or whatever. But one thing is important. When the leader and followers are as a team and they put extra efforts and they focus on the goal, that team, that group, and that organization is going to be successful. And the type of leadership which is important, especially nowadays, is the type of leadership which is more participative, which is more empowering, which is more creating excitement, rather than carrot and stick or reward and punishment. So this transformational and charismatic leaderships together, keeping in view all other the traits, the behavior aspect, one can be sure that this is going to have a positive effect on our organization's achievements, on the team performance. And the bottom line is, we need to understand all these things so that we should be able to understand this subject and this course. Take care of yourself. You need to work hard. I also need to work hard. So together we can make a difference. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum. Shab Bakhair.